5 testimonials from people forced to retire earlier than they had planned. That's the whole thing right there, guys. We never know if we're going to be in that situation or not. Life just happens, right? You could have the best plan and everything to retire at 65 years old. What happens if life just happens? Illness, sickness, loss of your job. What that tells me is that it's all about preparation and planning. If you want to retire, let's say 65, try and have everything ready to go at 62 or 63. That way, in a lot of these cases, you might be able to weather the storm better than some of these people did. I got all of these from USA Today. Here's the first one. Randy expected to retire at 75. And I apologize in advance. I'm going to be reading a lot of this because there's a lot of information. So I'll be looking up and back like this, but I'll be reading a lot. Randy expected to retire at 75. He lost his job in 2020 at Amazon when he was only 58. So you think this guy was ready to retire? No. He hasn't found work since, even after applying for 1,700 jobs. He's gone through most of his savings in the time since he was laid off at 2020. What does that tell you right there? Ageism is alive and well today, guys. It's alive and well today. I went through this when I first, about a year or a little more into my retirement. And for those of you looking at me for the first time, I retired in August of 2021 at the age, on my 59th birthday, with a little over $500,000. This is a channel for retirement on moderate income. If you think that you might like that, think about subscribing and like the video as well. I went through that as well because after sequence of returns risk hit me hard, I knew I had to bring some additional money in. I sent out so many resumes just for part-time work. Crickets. They can tell by your resume in a lot of cases how old you are. Just like Randy here. 1,700 applications later, nada. So he has pretty much resigned himself to retiring at 58, and he's gone through most of his savings. Yeah, not a good place to be, right? Number 2, Larry planned to work until he dropped as a police officer. At 49, he developed a tremor in his hands, and he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. He still applies for jobs, though. But in his case, he has a police pension. So even though he planned to work until he dropped, even at 49, he's going to be okay. He doesn't want to just retire and do nothing, though. He's still planning, or he's still applying for jobs, but he can't get anything. But in his case, luckily, his police pension is saving him. Okay, this is one of the lucky ones. You're not always going to be lucky, guys. That's why you got to plan and plan until earlier than you think you're going to retire, because these things happen. They just come out of the blue. Parkinson's, who knows? Number 3, Virginia taught high school history, but was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. She wanted to, but she couldn't keep working past 55. Her husband's company went out of business. Both retired at 55. The couple lives on Virginia's $32,000 a year pension. They have no retirement savings. Okay, here we go. 55. She had not planned on not being able to work. What happened? Again, something health related, fibromyalgia. $32,000 a year for a couple. That's not a lot to live on. It's not a lot of money. So what do you do in cases like that? Again, it's being prepared. You never know what's going to happen. Things come out of the blue, right? Things totally come out of the blue. You got to be prepared. Number 4, Peter planned to work until he was 67 in high tech, but he was laid off at 61. He was at least 15 years older than the other employees at his job. He also made a much higher salary. Uh-oh, I've been there. After 100 applications, he gave up. He has a secure retirement, but much less than he had planned for because he was laid off to 61 and not working till 67. Yeah, I've been there. And you know, it's given me so much stress. It's time for my retirement vodka. Much better now. I've been there. You're an older employee. In 2010, I was laid off from my music industry job. I was older than a lot of the other people there because music is for younger people. A lot of young people working in that. Ageism is alive and well, guys. It's alive and well. You never know when something like that may happen to you. Luckily, in his case, he was in high tech, made a lot of money, so he's going to be okay. But it's not going to be the kind of retirement that he was planning on, planning to work until 67. Look at the big discrepancies in the age, in the amount of years here from when they were planning on retiring and when they actually did retire. There's a lot of years there. Some of the cases, they're set up okay. Others, not so much. So again, plan, guys, plan. I know I say it over and over on this channel, but it needs to be repeated because a lot of people don't. I know when I first started planning, I started getting lazy. I would plan for a little bit, I'd save into my 401k, but then I'd find a better place with a higher rent in my late 30s, early 40s. And I'd quit contributing to my 401k because, I could take that money and put it to rent. Yeah, not good. You never know when things like this are going to happen. I'm not trying to be, the harbinger of doom here, but these things happen. As long as you're set and prepared, even earlier than you think you might be, you'll be okay. And here's number 5. Betty planned to work until she was 65. In 2012, her 96-year-old father broke his neck, and her 95-year-old mother needed help in caring for him. Yeah, you think? 95 and 96? I think they're going to need a lot of help. She left her gemology job at 58 to care for him. Her mother died a few months later, so she was left to care for her father on her own. That's not all. Her husband had always had diabetes. It became severe. She ended up having to care for both her father and her husband at the age of 58 when she planned on retiring at 65. Luckily, she has $80,000 from her husband's pension to hold her over because her husband died. I mean, that's a sad story, right? Luckily, it seems like she's going to be okay. She has enough money from her husband's pension to get her through. I mean, $80,000 a year, that's pretty good retirement income, right? But still, that shows you right there. I mean, you're just going along in life and all of a sudden, boom, life happens. Right? I remember when I was working my last job. I was working there for a couple of years and my mom had a stroke. Luckily, in my case, I was able to still work, but work remotely in order to take care of her from where she was living at the time. I had to do that for 9 months on my own, remotely from my work. Luckily, I had a good job that was able to do that. Some people don't have that access. Their company might not be as generous as mine was. They might say, okay, we'll give you a month off. Take care of it. After that, yeah, you need to work again and you need to be here on site. So you never know, guys. You never know what can happen in life, right? So just be as prepared as you can, as early as you can. Start your planning and saving as early as you can. So if, God forbid, some of these things happen to you, you'll be able to handle it okay. Like some of these people were lucky. They got enough money to live on. In some cases, the last one, pretty well. But you never know. You could be, sitting around hoping Social Security will take care of everything for you. You just never know. So all I can say is just prepare, save as early as possible. So if one of these situations happens to you, you'll still be ready to go and enjoy your retirement. As always, we got this.